business leaders and civil society representatives come together to deliberate on nation's economic priorities, this ahead of the national budget presentation that is set for the 27th of November. Now, it's prudent to note that this year's gathering in Blair comes at a time when Zimbabwe is navigating economic reforms, inflationary pressures, and the pursuit of inclusive growth. Now, from fiscal policy to social spending, the conversations in Blair will influence how resources will be allocated to achieve national development goals. Our discussion, balancing the books. Can the 2026 budget tick all the boxes? Now, Professor Mthuli Ncube, of the Minister of Finance in Zimbabwe, highlighted that Zimbabwe's economy has shown encouraging signs of macroeconomic stability, with inflation being managed within targeted levels and fiscal discipline increasingly improving. He also outlined how the manufacturing sector remains central to Zimbabwe's economic recovery, job creation, and diversification. Now, in line with this, the government is focusing on broadening Zimbabwe's export base.
Issues. Our quest has been to establish macroeconomic stability. At the beginning of NDS1, colleagues, you recall that we had the Zimbabwe dollar as the domestic currency. And this currency was highly, highly unstable. And part of the instability had to do with the liabilities that were held offshore, which had to be serviced. And these loans were being serviced through an increase of liquidity in the market. And that partly contributed to the instability. So those loans were then taken over by Treasury, because that's what we defined as quasi-fiscal activities. Once that was done, then it created room for the central bank to breathe and not to be under pressure to increase liquidity to service those loans. Now we're doing it using taxpayers' revenues, which is what ought to be done. It explains partly why you are seeing the stability that we're currently experiencing. Also, the central bank is introduced open market operations in terms of managing monetary policy, and also maintained the policy rate, which is above the inflation rate. So we have a positive real interest rate. And all of this is going a long way to stabilizing the currency. This also includes what you call the structural reserve requirements, which again remain elevated as a way to constrain the growth of liquidity in the market. And then on the fiscal front, also Treasury has not used the window at the central bank to borrow. That window remains shut. It has been shut for the last 6 years, and we have no intention of using it going forward. Because if we do, then we'll increase money supply, and that's not a good thing at all. Now, looking at inflation, which I had mentioned earlier, we've seen inflation trending downwards. In 2022, for example, inflation was as high as 193%, 2021, 99%. These were high numbers. In 2071% in 2023. This is ZIG inflation. And after the introduction of or rather domestic inflation, introduction of the ZIG in 2024, we saw inflation come down quite sharply because that's a more stable situation. And as of October 2025, ZIG annual inflation is 32.7% or minus 0.4% month on month. So you can see the sharp spike and then a sharp decline subsequently. The exchange rate remains stable. That's what we have. But also the gap between the official and the power rate, which we track through many means, also remains kept. It's not increasing much. And that's a good thing. So this is narrowing the arbitrage opportunities for some of the players in the market and keeping things stable and prices quite stable. So at about 26.7 ZIG per US dollar, this has been really the ballpark for the ZIG. It remains quite stable. We've also been successful in our reserve accumulation program. Colleagues, we've struggled to accumulate foreign reserves in the past, but I must say that in the last 18 months, we've seen major improvements, and now our reserves are almost $1 billion US, 900 million to be precise, but we expect that by December we'll be at $1 billion US, and this will go a long way in protecting the currency and signaling to the market that we have enough reserves to defend the currency if it comes under a speculative attack. The debt is at 22.6 billion, Mr. Speaker, sir, of which external debt is about 14 billion, and the remainder is then domestic debt. One piece of positive news, it's never good to have so much debt, is that our debt to GDP ratio, because of the bigger denominator being the GDP at about 52.3 billion by year end, our debt to GDP ratio has now dropped to 43%. So just looking at that ratio, our debt position doesn't look as terrible as before when we were at 70% of GDP and so forth. But the issue now is the arrears and the liquidity to service those debts. And that's what we've been working on. As you know, we have, during the NDS1, we launched the Structured Dialogue platform, and we've made steady progress with Adesina, the head of the FDB as the champion, President Chisano of Mozambique, former president, as the high-level facilitator. And we've made steady progress on all three pillars: economic growth and stability reforms, on governance reforms, land tenure reforms, farmer compensation. We've made steady progress in all areas, and we are started compensating the farmers for improvements. Every quarter we're paying something. Every month we're paying something. And on government reforms, people forget that this parliament removed the death penalty. That's a major step, Mr. Speaker, in terms of just kind of reforms. Countries struggle to remove a death penalty, but we did it. And if you look at economic reforms, just the ability to introduce a new currency, the ZiG, and we keep it steady, is not a small issue. It's a major issue. So we've done a lot. Mr. Speaker, so looking at exports, colleagues, we've done very well. Exports were 4.7 billion in 2018. We are looking at 9.6 billion this year, 10.2 billion this year. So as I said, we're not a small economy, Mr. Speaker. Sir. We are making major strides. Looking at imports, in 2018 we had 6.6, 2019 we went down to 4.4 billion. We're now at 10 billion in terms of exports. That's again, it's a major increase. Looking at remittances, even our diaspora is performing. Remittances were below $1 billion in 2019, and now we are looking at 2.7 billion in remittances. All this goes a long way in improving our current account position. If we're looking at our current account, we got our forecast wrong last year. Mr. Speaker said we thought our current account was going to shrink, but actually did the exact opposite. It keeps increasing. So this year, we expect to the end of the year with a current account of 1.3 billion US dollars. So our external position is not a threat to the currency. It's an asset to the currency. Because whenever you have a negative current account, you should worry. It means that more money is leaving the country than money coming in overall. And we have more money, we have $1.3 billion coming in net, and this is positive for the currency. Of course, we are combining both the net exports or net the trade position with the remittances and whatever else is coming through. The two together, I think, giving us 1.3 billion current account surplus, which goes a long way in supporting the currency. In fact, that's part of what you see in the banking sector. When you see those deposits, they keep rising. Some of that is coming from export earnings. net export earnings, and some remittances. Turning to public debt, in summary, there are just.
Now, the minister also touched on the food sector. He added that Zimbabwe has achieved wheat self-sufficiency. He stated that the national cattle herd increased from 5.2 million in 2017 to 5.74 million in 2024.
Sub-sectors, you can see the highest growth, those that are showing quite strongly. But then you've got areas where I think this is motor industry, where capacity utilization is still low, but this is a sector that I think we ought to incentivize. So I'm looking forward to some pronouncement in the budget, and I'm looking for ideas as to how we can further support our motor industry for manufacturing cars or local assembling cars locally. Within the manufacturing sector, colleagues, the largest sector is the foodstuff sector at 44%, followed by drinks, tobacco and beverages at 23%. Those are the large sectors. And then you have metal, non-metal mineral products, and then metals and metal products at 11.5 and 11 respectively. But the biggest contributors is foodstuffs, drinks, tobacco, beverages. There are various value chains that we've been promoting as government through the business, some remarkable progress. If you go back to 2018, for example, we were producing 161,000 metric tons of wheat, and then in 2019 went down to 95,000, and this year we've already surpassed 600,000 metric tons of wheat. It's again a remarkable achievement during this NDS1 period. Zimbabwe is wheat sufficient, and we're even able to export. I didn't know that there is wheat saja. So I ate wheat saja for the first time. The president gave it to me. He said, Minister, I said, what just wheat? So he gave it to me. I said, oh, it tastes very nice. So you can see that's not just for bread, but it's a durable cereal that supports nutrition and food security. Looking at the cattle sector, we've seen a steady increase in our national herd, where we were down with 5.4 million in 2019, and now we're at 5.8. This is as of 2025. Again, a steady increase in our livestock production. Looking at areas such as milk, for example, again, we're inching closer to self-sufficiency. We're currently at 137 million liters of milk compared to, for instance, 66 million back in 2017. So every year, you recall, colleagues always ask for your permission as members of parliament to allow us to import a certain quantum of powder to Ramvura, Telemans, and then that's milk for us. So I'm looking forward to stopping that over the next 2 years, because we'll be self-sufficient in milk production. You look at eggs, again, we have a similar picture. So we currently are producing 108 million dozens of eggs. Usually the unit of measurement is dozens of eggs. Compared to, for instance, in 2017, 2018, at 36 million dozens of eggs. Again, that sharp improvement is really commendable over the NDS1 period. I now turn to other crops. Maize is up and down. This is one issue that we need to solve, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. We need to start irrigating our maize. So whether there is rain, no rain, it shouldn't matter. Whether there's Zulu, Magula Zulu, it shouldn't matter. We should be able to produce enough maize to feed ourselves.
Now, still giving his presentation, the Treasury Chief added that the mining sector is the second largest contributor to GDP, accounting for 14.5%. It is projected to grow by 7.3% in 2025 and 6.2% in 2026. Now, he also highlighted that the manufacturing sector contributes 15.3% to GDP, adding that the focus for 2026 is to facilitate value addition and beneficiation to reduce reliance on raw material exports.
The sector is a laggard. The diamond sector globally has collapsed due to synthetic diamonds, which are flooding the market. You can't tell the difference between synthetic diamond and a real one. So that has really pushed down prices. And that's also what's affecting the economy of Botswana, which is dependent mainly on the diamond sector. Let me turn then to issues on price, currency, and commerce. The Minister of Industry and Commerce is here. Various looking at pharmaceuticals, fertilizer, iron and steel, motor industry. So I think we've given the Ginseng project in Manise special economic zone status, again to promote value chains around steel. That's been done already. You heard earlier the Minister of State for Bulawayo talk about the leather sector that's being capacitated through the support being given to the Leather Institute that seeks to improve the quality of leather product on that leather value chain. So 10 value chains that we've been supporting. This is driven by the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. Now, turning to the mining sector, again, we're seeing steady progress in the sector. As I said, it is the second largest sector right now in terms of contribution to GDP. And it's also just large-scale mining that's contributing to this sector. Also, our artisanal miners, especially in gold and chrome, they're doing a good job. Easily 60% of our gold is produced by artisanal miners. I've got a table here with on the state of the economy. Again, since 2019, we've seen that a steady upward increase in the volumes out of manufacturing. This is really is pleasing, and we've seen an increase of 141%. It's really impressive. Capacity utilization also is up from as low as 45% in 2017 up to 52% currently. Let's press on.
Now, there was a focus on marginalized communities. Professor Mthuli Ncube highlighted that Zimbabwe has made notable progress in expanding access to financial services for marginalized groups, particularly women and youth. He noted that the government is implementing cross-sector regulatory reforms to reduce the cost and complexity of doing business, with reforms spanning across 10 departments. Multiple overlapping permits have been streamlined, accompanied by significant fee reductions as well.
SMEs, women, youth, financial inclusion issues. Again, we've made a steady progress. I'm looking at the figures here. For SMEs, for example, June 2024 to June 2025, averaging is at 7,200 or so. Loans towards SMEs, we should do better, but that's what it is. And then loans to women entrepreneurs, an increase from 189,763 in June 24 to 328,324. That's a nice increase, and we should really applaud that more loans are going to our female entrepreneurs. And then to the youth, again, we're seeing an increase in loans from 52,000 in June 2024 to 102,000 overall in June 2025. But we must do more to support our youth and women, and that's a message that the Speaker also emphasized in his speech. I'm pleased that what we decided in this Parliament, and I'm trying to remember who made that proposal. I think it was Togarepi. If it's not Togarepi, if you are here, you can deny it. But the proposal was that we give Women's Bank and the Youth Bank prescribed asset status. We have done that. We've done that, Mr. Speaker. This will allow them to crowd in other investors, other funders to support women and youth. And we've been monitoring that as Treasury. In addition to the recapitalization issue that you mentioned, there is this other aspect. Mr. Speaker, our budget also has been able to support our vulnerable citizens. When you look at the grain distribution, I know there are some who say in my constituency we haven't received enough. They're still vulnerable people. That is correct. But we've worked hard as government to make sure that grain is available right across those who need it. I won't go into the numbers. On infrastructure, at the risk of repeating, again, whether looking at the airports, Jim Gawe Airport, VIP Lounge, we've done quite a bit in revamping our airports. And the roads, the same, we'll speed up. I see that's a picture of the Trabablas interchange in Harare. Now we have more Trabablases everywhere, that's good. I think the one from Mavugu is already underway, and there'll be many more. I'm also pleased that the rehabilitation of the Bulawayo Victoria Falls Road has started in earnest. I tested it a week ago. I drove from Bulawayo to Lupane. I saw the yellow machines on the road. There is progress. And then Harare Mazoe dualization is on. The Mosingo Bay Beach Road, there are still some portions that are left. That is being dealt with as well. On water and sanitation, again, we continue to invest in our village business units, providing water, nutritional gardens, sanitation facilities. But also, we are focused on completing Gwaishangani Dam and Kunzu Dam, and we have been applying resources to those two projects. In my slides, I've even put numbers in terms of what we've allocated this year, dispersed this year, and those are continuing to deal with eventually the water problem in Bulawayo. This is a long-term project, the Gwaishangani project, and then the water program also in Harare through Kunzi Dam. But it's understood that for Gwaishangani, there's a whole green belt that's going to be opened right along the pipeline all the way to Bulawayo. On power generation, again, we've made steady progress, Mr. Speaker, through this budget that we've approved. Various institutional housing. They mentioned the issue of ease of doing business. I did mention this in the outline, but I'll say something about it. The government has initiated this program to really reduce the cost of doing business, where you would need 10 licenses to open and start a business. That has been reduced, but also the individual cost of what is left in terms of licenses has also been lowered, and this will go a long way in supporting business. I think we have a few business. I think we have Sizeta, a CEO here. I saw her earlier, and I think that she'll confirm that this has been very well received by industry. But what is taking longer is the gazetting of the SIs that will then make sure that this can be implemented. But also, we don't want to disturb the budget of some of these institutions where we are cutting back on fees. We want to make sure that these start in earnest on the 1st of January 2026 on a new budget cycle. But we need the SIs. Those are coming through one by one. But also, some of these will be contained in the finance bill when we present that before yourselves at the end of this month. So
the success of the open skies policy, noting that a number of airlines flying into Zimbabwe has increased from just 3 in 2020 to 22 in 2025. On power generation, he said electricity output increased by 28.6%, that's between 2017 and 2024, and is projected to reach about 10,767 watts in 2025. Now, the commissioning of Hwange Units 7 and 8 added 600 megawatts to the national grid, strengthening baseload capacity and reducing the reliance on imports.
Sector since COVID, with 3 airlines flying in 2020. Now we're at 22 airlines. In fact, in 2015, we had 13 airlines, and we thought that was high. And then 16 airlines in 2017, but now we're at 2022. So again, tourism is flourishing, and the visitors are coming in. No wonder why also we've been voted as best destination by Forbes magazine. Turning to the digital economy, we have seen a massive improvement in the access to internet, use of internet, data. When you look back where we were in 2018, at 27 petabytes, it's amazing. Now at 403, sharp increase in access to the internet and use of the internet. Our new AI strategy that was launched a few weeks ago will also go a long way in supporting this sector. I hope you will support me. I want to have a budget line to support the high-performance computer at the University of Zimbabwe. How many of you have visited that high-performance facility? Anybody out there? 1, 2, 3. Please, as Mr. Speaker said, colleagues, we look at where we were in 2017 at 7,851 gigawatts per hour to now almost 11,000 gigawatts per hour. But I think, Mr. Speaker said we need another 1K 9 and 10. I think we do. We have to work on that as executive over the next few years to make sure there's 1K 9 and 10. It also revamp what we have. We've done an arrangement with a company in India for the upgrade of 1K units 1 to 6, Jindal, that's what they're called. And again, we look forward to an improved facility over the next 3 years. But we need additional 1K 9 and 10. But also, there's no reason why we cannot go nuclear as well. It's cleaner, more efficient. You can deploy a 300 megawatt nuclear unit within 6 months. But we need to invest in expertise. We currently have 100, that's a lot, 100 students who are studying nuclear subjects in the appropriate countries. I will not name them. We've got 100 students. But it's one thing to be in a university, it's another to really manage the facility. So maybe we need some skills upgrade before we really take on nuclear. But that's the way to go. And that's nicely priced at the appropriate level where you pay $1 million per megawatt. That's the global standard. The moment you pay more than that, you are overpaying for power, at least for both coal and nuclear.
And well, with that, we have come to the end of our program. I have been your host, Faith Nyaude. Pleasant viewing.
Song of ages to the Lamb, and all who've gone before us, and all who will believe, will sing the song of ages to the Lamb. Your name is the highest, your name is the greatest. Your name